What if Mahou Tsukai Precure were Pokemon trainers? If you don't know what Precure is, all you need to know is that it is a magical girl anime that's been airing since 2004, and every single year there's a new season with a new theme and a new cast of iconic divas. Today, we'll be talking about the 13th season of Precure, called Mahou Tsukai Precure, or Witchy Precure, which of course focuses on the theme of magic and witches. This season had 3 main cures, and I'm gonna be making each of them Pokemon teams based on their themes, color schemes, lore, and vibes. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like. And if you really like it, you could even subscribe. Also, let me know down below in the comments who you would put on their teams and why. Now, without further ado, let's make some Pokemon teams. You'll notice our layout is a little bit different this time. We've got Cure Miracle there on the left. We've got the Pokeballs on the right, which is where her team will show up. And in the bottom left, I've also given each Precure a ball that I think they would use for their team, like the Pokeball they would catch their Pokemon in. So for Cure Miracle, I picked the Love Ball. I think the Love Ball will probably fit most of the pink leads. However, I picked that for her because the heart is her symbol, as opposed to Cure Magical, who has the star as her symbol. So let's talk about her first team member, which is Hatterene, of course. It's Mahou Tsukai Precure, Witchy Precure. She's gonna have a witch on her team, and for her, I picked a shiny Hatterene because she's a pink witch. You know, I picked the shiny one just because it dims that blue and makes it a bit more of a pastel, almost grayish white, which matches with her design a bit better, but this is her obligatory witch Pokemon for the witch season of Precure. For her next team member, I gave her Teddiursa, of course, to represent Mofrune, her stuffed animal who becomes kind of the obligatory mascot fairy and is also the transformation item for Cure Miracle and Cure Magical. Of course, she had to be represented somewhere. I did think about if I wanted to give her her own team, but for this video, because I want to focus on the main 3 cures of Mahou Tsukai and Mirai Days, I just picked Teddiursa to rep Mofrune here, which I think Teddiursa reps Mofrune very well. They look not identical, but they're both orangey brown. They're both little cutesy mootsy baby bears that look like stuffed animals. If you have a team for Mofrune though, I would love to hear about it. I know in the movie, I think Mofrune does get a cure form, so I haven't seen the movie yet though, because I'm a fake fan. Oh no, no. Okay, but for Miracle's third member, I gave her Indeedee female. Indeedee is a normal psychic type Pokemon, and I don't want to spoil with Cure Magical. However, I did do another counterpart thing, kind of like what I did with Wonderful Precure in that video. And when I saw Indeedee, I was like, oh, it's perfect, because normal kind of represents the non-magic world, psychic kind of represents the magic world, and Indeedee male and Indeedee female have very specific attitudes that are in their face shape, in their horn shape, in their vibe, despite being the same Pokemon. And I think those attitudes also reflect Cure Miracle and Cure Magical a lot. So Indeedee represents the bridge between the non-magic and magic world that Magical and Miracle created. Not that they created the bridge, but they created the friendship across the worlds. You know what I mean. You get it. For the next 3 team members, something that was really fun and exciting about Mirai Days is that Cure Miracle and Cure Magical got extra forms to represent the Ruby, Sapphire, and Topaz, and they got special transformations and special outfits for these forms, and so she will be getting a Pokemon to represent each of those forms. So starting with Ruby, because it's the first one that they got in the show, I have given Cure Miracle an Armarouge, who is kind of more yellow than red, and it's also a special attacking Pokemon when the Ruby transformation represents physical strength. So I guess that's kind of a contradictory choice. But despite being a special attacker, I do see Armarouge as an attacking strong Pokemon. It's also, the Ruby is the Linklestone of Passion, and Passion is also often represented by fire, for whatever reason. So I don't know, it just felt right to give a fire type to Miracle to represent the Ruby form. I will say, I did look again. I looked a few times to see if I could find a better rep for Ruby for Miracle, and nothing felt quite right in my heart as Armarouge did. So if you have any better ideas to represent Miracle for the Ruby, let me know. Armarouge is what I got stuck on, and even when I'm trying to justify to myself right now, it's just like the vibe felt right, and that's really what it was. For Sapphire, however, I think my choice is very fitting. Miracle gets Primarina to represent the Sapphire gem. Of course, the Sapphire Linklestone is received from the Mermaid Kingdom, Mermaid Realm of Magic World. So who better than a blue mermaid-esque Pokemon to represent the Sapphire Gem. I will say though, the power they get in their Sapphire form seems to be flight. Primarina cannot fly. However, part of the thing was that mermaids used to be able to fly. So maybe in the Pretty Cure universe, Primarina can fly. Or maybe she just has a flying Terra type. That's cool too. Actually, that'd kind of be fierce. Primarina has a flying Terra type in this universe. It's also cute because I feel like Primarina aesthetically matches Miracle's Sapphire transformation. The hairstyle? That is the same hairstyle. I wonder why mermaids get that hairstyle. Just a thing, I guess. And Primarina also has those pink accents, which Miracle also has in her transformation in Sapphire style. Lastly, though, we have her Topaz rep, Fido. And I gave Miracle Fido because it's yellow. So of course you need a yellow rep for the Topaz one. However, their Topaz transformations are like custard based. They're food based. They're sweets based. So I wanted to pick a yellow food based Pokemon to give to them to represent their Topaz form. And for Miracle, I picked Fido. And also, she has those little like bagel buns, dough buns, which kind of look like Miracle has like little loopy braids that are a similar shape. So aesthetic wise it matched, theming wise it matched, color wise it matched. And yeah, so this is Miracle's team. We've got Hatterene the Witch, Morpharoon Teddiursa, Indeedee, which will be linked with magical spoilers, and then her Ruby, Sapphire, and Topaz with Armarouge, Primarina, and Fido, all caught in the love ball. If you have any better ideas for Miracle, please let me know. I'm going to say that after every single one. I want to hear your ideas because I feel like there's probably a lot of really interesting lore-based choices I could have made. You know, there's also all the other Linkle Stones that some of them have access to using the powers more than others, which could be neat. But yeah, let's move on to Cure Magical. So here is Cure Magical, the purple Cure of the season, the partner to Cure Miracle. I don't want to separate them as she's not the leader because she is as much of a main character as Miracle is. They transform together exclusively. They can't transform without each other. They are both the lead. She's a purple lead. I don't care. And for her Pokeball to catch her Pokemon in, I gave her the Moonball. I wish it was a star because of course the star is her symbol. And like, I wish it was purple, but you know what we're really lacking in the Pokemon universe is purple Pokeballs other than the Master Ball, and she's not that powerful. So I get the Moon Ball because it's still kind of witchy. It has the black, which she has black accents. It has the moon, which is like moon stars. It's close enough. But for her first Pokemon she has, it's going to be her witch Pokemon, and it is Miss Magius, a purple witch diva. Note the little red accents, which coincides with Magical's like red bow and red little what you call that little ruffle thingy on the front, and there's red accents on her shoes and her little bow in the back, so that's really cute. And even that pink fuchsia-y color on Miss Magius kind of coincides with that lighter purpley color on Magical, so this is just too perfect of a fit. Of course, she's going to get a witch Pokemon. They're getting coinciding teams. Their teams are going to go very nicely together and are going to have a lot of the same check boxes filled out. But Miss Magius was just too perfect for her. And you know, Miss Magius and Hatterene being two witch divas together that kind of represent the Pokemon versions of Miracle and Magical, I think that's cute. For Magical's second Pokemon, I gave her Ribombee. And this is a counterpart. Teddiursa is Morpharoon. Ribombee is Chikaroon, who is a bee fairy character. Starts off as kind of a villain thing, but becomes a reoccurring team member, kind of. While Chikaroon does not fulfill the same role that Morpharoon fulfills, or even Hachan when we get to her later. It felt wrong to not represent Chikaroon after how much importance he held to the story, so I wanted to give that to someone. But really, if Chikaroon was to be in a team, he'd probably be in Morpharoon's team, but I'm not doing the Morpharoon team, and therefore Chikaroon is going to be with Magical. Next up, we have Indeedee, male. This was spoiled before, but can you not just see? Like, this one's so much like more like standoffish. Not that Magical is standoffish, but Magical is like the black cat, and Miracle is the golden retriever. And I feel like the two forms of Indeedee are very black cat and golden retriever. Even like the horns going uppies instead of downies kind of reminds me of that like bat-wing hair that Magical gets. I'm not going to go as deep dive into it again, but of course, normal psychic, normal world, magic world, that's the rep there. I've already talked about this with Miracle, so I'm just going to move on to her fourth team member. We're getting into the Ruby, Sapphire, Topaz team members, and for her Ruby member, I give her Delphox. Delphox is another witch Pokemon. It felt like I had to give Delphox to someone, and then I was like, oh, perfect. For the Ruby rep, but then I wanted to give them separate ones, and I felt that Delphox would be a better fit for Cure Magical because she's actually from the magic world. Once again, a fire type Pokemon to represent passion, as Ruby is the Linklestone of passion. And yeah, she's a witch. For Sapphire, I gave Cure Magical Vaporeon. Once again, the Sapphire is the blue Linklestone. It is the Linklestone of calmness, which water is often associated with calmness, so that works out well. But of course, we're doing water types because it's from the mermaid realm. And some interesting lore about Vaporeon is there's a whole thing about its tail fin has been mistaken for a mermaid's tail in the past, and it's believed that the origin of mermaid folklore comes from Vaporeon's tail. So I thought that would be kind of cute as Vaporeon representing the mermaid concept as well. I also forgot to mention with Miracle, Shiny Primarina has yellow hair, so that would also be an acceptable choice for Cure Miracle to give her the Shiny Primarina. Finally, for Cure Magical, she has to represent the Topaz Alchemy. Alchemy was such an obvious decision to represent the foodie excitement Topaz transformation. And I chose to give her to Magical because I thought Fido fit Miracle better. And those were the two that it came down to. The other thing was I had initially planned on doing the yellow alchemy with the star decorations to represent Magical's star symbol. However, then it was just really, really yellow. And it doesn't look as nice. So I gave her the purple bows so that you get that purple representation to link back into Magical's base purple Cure color. But yeah, she gets Alchemy as the other Topaz rep. Realistically, with all of the Topaz, Sapphire, and Ruby reps, you could swip and swap them between Cure Miracle and Cure Magical as you see fit. This is just how I wanted to do it. I didn't want to give two starters to one, so I separated Delphox and Primarina, and then with Alchemy and Fido, I just felt like Fido made sense with Miracle more than would have made sense with Magical. But that is Magical's team. Let me know what you think about it, and let's get into Cure Felice. Cure Felice? I want to say Cure Felice because that's how they pronounce it in the show, but look at this diva. This is Cure Felice, and ooh. I'm gonna say right now, obviously there's spoilers for this whole show in this video, but with her, there's gonna be spoilerinas. So, if you don't want spoilerinas about Cure Felice, you have 3 seconds to leave. 3, 2, 1. Okay, period. We're here. Let's talk Cure Felice, who maybe has one of my favorite Cure designs ever. I want to be her when I grow up. She is such a phenomenal Cure design, and we don't get enough green Cures, so we love to see her here. And Cure Felice is very interesting because she is basically God. And as such, I gave her the Strange Ball because it is green and mysterious, and she's kind of green and mysterious. For her first Pokemon, I gave her Flabebe because Cure Felice, Hachan, starts as a little fairy in the Linkle Smart Book, and I wanted to give her a little Flabebe to rep her as baby form. Obviously, this could be a Florges to represent the fully grown Felice, and if you want to give it to her as a Flabebe, a Floette, or a Florges, I'm happy with any of those. I picked Flabebe because I wanted to represent baby Hachan, especially because I didn't get to give that to Miracle or Magical. Realistically, I would have given Mofurun to Miracle, and then Hachan, Flabebe to Magical, but because Hachan becomes Cure Felice and gets her own team, she can have a Pokemon that represents herself as the fairy. But next, we've got Roselia. You're gonna notice there's gonna be a lot of flowery divas, a lot of planty divas, a lot of that vibe with Felice, because of course she's covered in flowers and is very plant themed herself. She is kind of Mother Earth in a way. Roselia, I gave her to be the representative of her wand. The Flower Echo Wand is what it is called. Roselia has those big rose hands, and the Flower Echo Wand has like what looks like a rose at the end of it, so I thought that would be kind of a cute nod to her wand weapon. For her third Pokemon, she has Beautifly, and this was one I kept going back and forth on. While flowers are clearly her motif, she has this yellow butterfly fairy thing on her hair, and on her hair. They're all on her hair. Surprise. And I wanted to give something as a nod to that because it just seems like a kind of contrasting element in her design. Everything else is very pink and green, and then obviously there's the pink and orangey flowers. The other thing is, this is like spoilers past Mahou Tsukai. In Mirai Days, Hisui-chan exists, and Hisui has that butterfly as kind of her emblem as well, so I feel like there's just a little nod, a little link between those two characters with Beautifly, and yeah. I also was just trying to like not give Cure Felice a bunch of grass types and flowery Pokemon, so yeah. Fourth Pokemon. Okay, these next three Pokemon, we're going crazy, kooky, wild. They are all big names, but again, Cure Felice is kind of god. First of all, Shaman. Shaman was the first Pokemon I wanted to put on Cure Felice's team. Obviously, Shaman's primarily green with pink flowers, which works really well with Cure Felice's design, but also a big part of Cure Felice's characters. Oh my god, I remember this sea of pink flowers. And what Pokemon is known for creating lots of flowers, putting flowers into bloom, and existing in fields of flowers? Shaman. Shaman is in that sea of flowers. It just feels too perfect. It feels like Pokemon form of Cure Felice, so she has Shaman. Next, we have Shiny Celebi. I did Shiny because pink, and I was trying to make some color variation on her team. And you know, she was a pink fairy. Time is a big part of Miraide's plot, so I wanted some sort of nod to that within these teams, and Celebi is the time-traveling Pokemon who is the guardian of the forest, which I think also ties in nicely with Hachan, Cure Felice being a fairy that protects the world. But also, she has existed throughout time in multiple bodies, in multiple forms. The powers have been passed between different bodies with Rapapa, Felice / Hachan, and then we get to see Hisui in Miraide's, and I don't know, it just felt right to have a nod to that with Celebi, and again, another powerful legendary Pokemon. I try to save a big one for last. I'm not gonna show up and be like, yeah, now she gets like a Pichu. It's gonna be a big deal, this last Pokemon, because it's coming after Shaman and Celebi. Cure Felice's final Pokemon is Xerneas. And I picked Xerneas because I was like, Rapapa, Cure Felice, like she is Mother Earth of the world. She takes care of everything, brings kindness. She represents life as her theme. And I was like, what legendary Pokemon is the Pokemon that represents life? It's Xerneas, because Xerneas and Yveltal are the life and death duo. And so I was like, okay, Xerneas, but I was like, the color doesn't exactly fit. Like if Xerneas is green or pink, that'd be perfect. I looked at shiny Xerneas and I was like, no, that doesn't really work either. But Xerneas is a fairy type. Cure Felice is a fairy. And Xerneas has a form in New Pokemon Snap. I can't remember if this is showcased in any other game, but in New Pokemon Snap, Xerneas exists as a tree when she is not walking around. But then when necessary, she transforms from that tree and bestows her presence as Xerneas on you when she needs to. And you know what Kirapapa was? Like the goddess of the mother tree. Is that not perfect? Yes, Xerneas is blue, but she is mother tree. And Cure Felice is Mother Tree, and they both have life as their theme, and they're both fairies. It's too good to say no to. So Xerneas will be Cure Felice's final team member. Once again though, if you would pick different Pokemon for Cure Felice, I would love to hear your ideas, because some of y'all have some really cool ideas. Not some of y'all, all of y'all do, and I love hearing them. In the wonderful Pretty Cure video, Jelliolfson 3726, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, did a really cool idea with Yuxi Mesprit and Azelf. It gagged me fiercely. The connection they made. Go watch that video after this one if you haven't, and go check out that comment. It's excellent, and it's pinned. It's pinned so you can see it because it's so cool. So yeah, please share your ideas with me. If you have a Cure Moforun team, share with me who would be on that team. If you have better ideas for any of these three divas, let me know, because I want to know. I want to engage in this weird Precure Pokemon fantasy that I'm creating in my brain and connect with you, who also has ideas. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you had as much fun with it as I had making it. It's always fun making Pokemon teams for characters that don't exist in Pokemon. So if you'd like to see me do this with more Pretty Cure seasons, let me know which seasons you want to see next down below in the comments. I actually didn't plan to do Mahou Tsukai this time. However, when I was just like putting things together, I was like, oh, that one would be good for Cure Miracle. Ooh, that'd be good for Cure Felice. And I was like, ooh. And then before I knew it, I had full teams for them, before I had full teams for other seasons. But yeah, I'd love to do this as well with like other series, like maybe Mario characters, stuff like that would be super fun. So let me know if you'd like to see that. If you've made it this far and you haven't already, please be sure to leave a like. And also subscribe. We do Pretty Cure content here when we want to, which is usually once a month it seems. And yeah, that's enough yapping from me though, because I yap way too much. So how about I see you in another video? All right, friends? Bye-bye. Ready for some ASMR?